Well, Alex Murdaugh is back in court for day 24 of his double murder trial.
Prosecutors are cross-examining the disbarred South Carolina attorney after Thursday's full day of testimony. Murdaugh is accused of killing his wife and son back in June of 2021. He is admitted to lying to investigators about the last time he saw his wife Maggie and son Paul, and stealing money from his law firm. He claims he tried contacting law enforcement to come clean about his financial crimes.
When I got arrested and I went to jail, we began reaching out to you to talk to you about all of these things, to try to tell you everything that I'd done, to give you all these details to help y'all go through these financial things. And up until the time that y'all charged me with murdering my wife and child, you would never give Jim Griffin a response to our invitations to sit down and meet with you.
Prosecutors have disputed that claim. They say he never reached out to law enforcement about the night at the kennels and questioned why Thursday was the first time they heard about it. CBS News national correspondent Nikki Battiste has been tracking this trial. She joins us now from outside the courthouse in Walterboro, South Carolina. Nikki, it was the team's decision to have Alec testify. There are major risks to something like this. I was really gripped by the level of detail he provided in his opioid addiction he says he has, and how that clouded his thinking only when it comes to lying about where he was that day. But for you, what were the biggest takeaways from the second day of cross-examinations?
Errol, I think you make a really good point, and just the point the prosecution wants to make. Alex Murdaugh is detailing everything he remembers about June 7th, 2021, the night of the murders, but he can't remember specifics within minutes of when the prosecutors say his wife and son were killed. He admits now that he was at the dog kennels, what was ultimately the crime scene, really within minutes of what the alleged time of death is. And the prosecutor keeps hammering, how can you not remember whether or not you had a conversation with your wife before you left the dog kennels? The reason the prosecution is pointing that out is because if he had a conversation with his wife before he left, it probably would have taken a minute or two, and that is putting him closer and closer to the exact time of death the prosecution has said it was right before 9 p.m. on that night. So it's really a lot of hammering Alex Murdaugh today that has stood out. And it is remarkable what he does remember in detail. But the jury has to decide who they believe and what they think of his testimony. Errol and Nalene?
So, Murdaugh admitted to both lying to investigators and committing financial crimes while on the stand Thursday. Nikki, help us understand perhaps what the strategy might be here and how damaging potentially has his testimony been.
It seems to me, and I think to most people, that Alex Murdaugh is now saying, look, I had an opioid addiction for 20 years. I lied about so many things. I'm coming clean now and I want to tell the truth. I lied about this and this and this, financial crimes. I lied about where I was initially the night of the murders. I think that's him trying to say, I made all these mistakes, but he's still saying, but I did not kill my wife and son. So again, it's really up to the jury. Do they believe him or do they not? And I think for a lot of the financial crimes, he's never denied them in the past, so it's not surprising that he's been openly admitting to them during this testimony.
It really is all
Elaine
fascinating. And just in our last few seconds, Nikki, when should we expect closing arguments to begin, and how soon could we see this case wrap up?
The prosecution estimated they've had a few more hours of questioning for Alex today. He's been on the stand 2.5 hours so far. The defense tells me they have about 3 to 4 more witnesses they may call, but they think they might rest on Monday at the earliest. Errol and Elaine?
It's all fascinating. Nikki Battiste covering it all for us. Thank you very much.